What is up, everybody? Welcome back to High School Never Ends, a pop punk dad podcast. I'm Wingman Steve.
And I'm Chris 183.
And here we are. It is summertime. If you listened last week, we started a new series. We're calling it the Rankin It Summer Showdown, where we kind of just take our concept of ranking it, which is usually like 3-2-1 or maybe 5-4-3-2-1, and make it bigger, Chris. Much bigger. Did you have fun last week?
I did, and I look forward to doing it all over again, and that's what we're going to do tonight or today, depending on when you're listening to this.
Yeah, tonight or today. I kind of forgot what we were doing. Chris and I each took a little vacation, and it feels like it's been a month since we did this last one, even though it came out last week, but that's good because it kind of feels fresh, like we're doing it for the first time.
Yeah, for sure. So we had a little bit of extra time to think about how we were going to rank this one. Not that we didn't for the last one. I don't think that we need time, Steve, for any of these because we have our opinions deeply rooted, especially for the previous one and looking at those drive-through record bands. But I think that it will carry over to what we're doing today.
Yeah, for sure. And so as you mentioned, we ranked our top 20 drive-through records bands on the last episode. And what we're going to do today is we're going to rank our top 20 favorite albums that came out in the year 2001 and pulled these off of the Googles and stuff like that. So if we miss something from 2001 or if something is a little off, then sorry, like we did our best. But we have 20 albums. The way it's going to work is that we're going to tell you the albums first. And they all came out in 2001, probably. And they're lots of different genres. It's not just pop punk. There is a lot of pop punk on there. And Chris and I have already ranked our favorites from 20 all the way down to 1. We're going to take some turns, kind of saying how we ranked them. And then after we go through our personal rankings, we're going to add the scores together. And then we'll reveal what our overall 20-1 ranking it for albums that came out in 2001 looked like. Does that make sense, Mr. 183?
It makes sense to me. Hopefully it makes sense to all of you guys out there listening. And as we normally do, we encourage you guys to follow along, make your own lists, your own ranking it as we make ours. And if you have any opinions that differ from ours, that's fine. That's part of the fun, even though my opinion is correct.
As he always states. And we're not going to rank our favorite Patreon patrons, but we're going to list them. Jason, Punkish Dad, Sam, Nick, Tom, Ashley, Jeff, thank you. Shout out to our patrons. You can join that. We'll tell you how to do that later. Anyways, so we have a list of 20 albums from the year 2001. How do we want to reveal these, Chris?
Yeah, I think we do what we did last time. We just, you take the first 10, I take the second 10.
That sounds good. So, all right, if you're ranking along with us at home, pull up an Excel spreadsheet or your notes app or a handy pen and paper so you can write these down and then scribble your numbers next to them. The albums that we are going to rank today in our Rankin It Summer Showdown for 2001 albums, the first 10 are as follows. It looks like I got most of the pop punk ones that I'm going to mention, but okay. Number 1 is Jimmy Eat World's Bleed American. Number 2, Blink-182's Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. Next, Sum 41, All Killer, No Filler. Next, Saves the Day, Stay What You Are. Next is the Ataris, End Is Forever. We also have Yellow Card's first album, One for the Kids. We have Mest's album, Destination Unknown. We have an album by a band called Weezer. I don't know if you've heard of them, Chris. I believe it's called Weezer, but it's green, so people call it the Green Album. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Look at me. I'm an expert. We also have the final full-length record from Phoenix TX entitled Lechuza and Brand New's debut record, Your Favorite Weapon.
All right, and then following that up at number 11, we have Rufio with perhaps, I suppose, then one of my all-time favorites, maybe, or maybe not, Alkaline Trio, From Here to Infirmary. Next, we do have one of my favorites, System of a Down, Toxicity. After this, so this was surprising. Not surprising in that it's a surprising best album of 2021. Or 2001, sorry, I'm giving us 20 years on this. 2001, It's just that it probably comes as a surprise for those of you guys out there listening to a pop punk podcast. Sorry, I can't talk. A Jay-Z, The Blueprint, is on the list. Next, REM Reveal. We've mentioned this album several times on the show when talking about the band REM. Next is no doubt Rocksteady. Then we have Incubus, Morning View, followed by Sugar Cult, Start Static. American Hi-Fi is up next. We did talk about that album on this show. And finally, Throwing the Game by Lucky Boys Confusion.
That is a list. So hopefully we didn't say them too quickly. You can always rewind, write them down, rank them, and play along with us. But Chris, I'm throwing a monkey wrench into our game today since I kind of chose this topic and this format here. We have more topics and formats coming up soon. Make sure to tune in. However, I want to play a little extra game before we get into this. What I want to do is I'm going to guess what I think you are going to rank as your top 3. I'm also going to guess what I think overall is going to be the top 3. And then I'm going to ask you to do the same for me. You guess what I am going to pick as top 3, and you guess overall. Because if you're playing along, just to repeat this, and last time we went through this exercise, if I rank something super high and you rank it super low, then it's not going to have a great score. So you kind of have to look at it as what do we think is going to, have the best kind of overall combined score. And since I'm throwing this at you and you haven't thought about it, I will go first. Do you understand my my extra game here?
I do. Let's go.
So this is my prediction for you, Chris. And so your picks are locked in, right? There's nothing that can change based on making me wrong, right?
They're locked in. They're right here.
Just want to make sure. Okay. There's that locked in sound effect. All right. So I am going to guess that your number 3 album here is going to be Brand New's Your Favorite Weapon. I'm second guessing that, but I wasn't sure. I'm going to guess that your number 2 is Weezer's Green Album. And I'm going to guess that your number 1 is Blink's Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, because I know that's your favorite Blink album.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I think that are we going to do the same thing I'm going to do for you? Then we're going to go to the other one. Is that how you're going to do? Okay. So I think that number 3 for you will be, I think it's going to be Jimmy Eat World, Bleed American. I think you're going to go Yellow Card, One for the Kids, and then I think you'll go Blink-182, Toy Page.
Okay, Toy Page, nice abbreviation. Okay, so we will see if either of us are correct in those top 3s. And then overall, so considering, how I'm ranking mine, and I don't know how you're ranking yours, my guess for the top 3 overall is my guess is that number 3 is going to be Jimmy Eat World, Bleed American. My guess is that number 2 is going to be Yellow Cards, One for the Kids. And my guess is that number 1 is going to be Take Off Your Pants and Jacket.
I think that number 3 will be Weezer Green. I think number 2 will be Blink. And number 1 will be Jimmy Eat World.
Okay. Well, those guesses are all locked in. They're part of my spreadsheet that only I can see at the moment. But Chris, I will share it with you after we do our rankings. And we'll just see how we did. That's just the fun part of it. There's no money involved or anything like no prizes. Just for fun. See
we
how
should
well
have
we
prizes. Know. Why can't we win too?
How about a bacon, egg, and cheese?
That's fine. I'm owed one. I'm owed an authentic bacon, egg, and cheese, so I'll take it.
From New York. All right. So, all right, I think, do we want to swap this from last time or do the same where I do 2016 then you, or do you want to go first this time?
I can go first this time just to switch it up.
All right.
So I'm going number 20 through number 16, correct?
Yes, that would be correct.
All right. So for me, the number 20 is going to be Throwing the Game by Lucky Boys Confusion.
Worst album on this list.
Yeah, I mean it's it's challenging for me. I found something I liked more in 19 other albums on this list versus this one. I don't know why I didn't connect with this one as much as maybe you did. I have a feeling you might have them a little bit higher than this. I think they're fine. I think we had a great conversation with the band now several years ago, but I don't know. I just, in terms of this is a powerhouse list here, Steve. I just feel like that's where they belong. Number 19 for me is the Rocksteady album by No Doubt. I just wasn't a fan at all of the songs that were hits off of this. Actually, I felt they were annoying. I may have second guessed myself a couple times putting this one at last in 20, but the only reason I put them at 19 is based on the previous albums No Doubt had put out that I actually did like. I thought they had a decent legacy. Obviously, Gwen Stefani's voice is really good, but I just didn't like the songs on this album at all. So 19 is No Doubt. 18 is going to be now this one you're going to have some heartbreak, but it's American Hi-Fi. As much as I felt that it had a super strong single that I mean it's even a single that you could hear today and sing along to and people can enjoy it. It stands the test of time. I don't know as a full body of work whether it would be any higher than this in terms of a list such as this because the other songs really didn't carry it any higher in my opinion.
I'm not surprised for you. That was basically the sentiment when we did that album a few months ago.
Number 17, this was challenging for me because there was a lot of bands that probably could be in this 17 to 14 range. But 17 for me is Rufio, perhaps I suppose. I do remember having some sort of connection with this album, but once again, you got to rank them somehow, somewhere, and I just felt that this was the right spot for it. I don't know. 16 for me. Same thing goes here. Like I really thought that there was some good songs that came out of Mest, Destination Unknown. But I think that just like Rufio, maybe because I'm not as familiar with these bands and the music that they play. Like I've heard them and we've listened to them for this show, but I just don't have the connection there. And even though I do like some of the songs, and I may have come on this show and said how much I like these albums, I can't remember honestly. I do think that they belong in this late teen range. I think this is the best spot for them. So that's where I'm at, 20 to 16.
Okay. So for me, 20 to 16, it's going to be a lot of stuff where I just don't have as much familiarity or, it just doesn't beat out. There's a lot of good pop punk on here that you can probably assume will be relatively high on my list. But for me, Chris, get your tissues out. I do not know one song off of REM's Reveal album. I don't know one song, so it has to go in my bottom spot. Sorry for that. Just never. I listened to them a little bit in the 90s. After that, I just didn't get into any of it. Number 19. Now, while I really do like a lot of Jay-Z music, I just don't know that I know a lot of songs from the album The Blueprint. I feel like it's one, like the name makes me think it's like one of his biggest, but when I kind of looked at the track list, the H to the Izzo song was kind of the only one that really stood out at me as the one I know. Do you remember? Are there other songs that you think I would know off of that album?
I don't know. No, not if you didn't buy it. Not if you weren't a fan of hip hop or Jay-Z and you're just listening to hits. That's
Yeah,
probably the only one you're really gonna know.
I was a fan of a lot of hip hop, and I like Jay-Z, but I never got his albums and listened to them. I got a lot of the Eminem, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, that 50 Cent, like that contingent. I got a lot of those. And I did like Jay-Z. I had no beef, but I just didn't get this one and listen to it a whole lot. So That one for me is at number 19. Number 18, I am feeling your vibe with the Bananas. No doubt had some really good stuff early in their career. But when you look at the album Rocksteady from 2001, Hey Baby, Hella Good, Underneath It All, these just aren't the singles or the album that's connecting with me. And to that effect, my number 17, I'm gonna go to a band that I have seen live, and again, I really don't have any bad words to say about them. But Incubus's Morning View is gonna go at 17 for me. I know that the song "Nice to Know You" and "Wish You Were Here," those are some big singles. I like those, but I never really got into their album as a whole, so that's where it's gonna sit for me at 17. And 16 for me, ranking out this bottom five. Again, people are so mad when I just don't give love to Alkaline Trio, but I don't not like Alkaline Trio. I just didn't really give them a lot of love and a lot of listens. So there are just the rest of these albums, I guess, got more spins, and the singles stood out more. So Alkaline Trio's "Here to Infirmary" is number 16 for me.
Yeah. So one of the things that I want to clarify too is it's when coming up with these lists, like we probably need to identify whether or not we're going to rank them based on familiarity, if that's going to play a major part in how we rank these songs, or sorry, albums in this scenario, because I have some albums that, and here's the thing, like, I know what I've said on the show. I know which bands I've talked about on the show that haven't necessarily been a big fan of. But when I look at the body of work that an album is, or the front to back, piece of art that it could be, based on what other people may think of it, I might push it up a little bit further up the list. So I may have come at this in a little bit differently, even though I did say that Rufio and Mest were somewhat tied to familiarity. I still do believe those albums belong there based on what they give you. I think they were just above average. They were good, but they weren't great and they weren't terrible. So that's that. I just wanted to throw that out there, that this is not just about familiarity for me. It might be for Steve, and I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but when you're coming up with your list, take that into consideration. Let's define what the list means and how you're ranking it before you do. So just moving on. So I'm going to go start with 15. And Steve, I'm going down to what, 11?
Yep.
All right. So not too far away from you on the Incubus album. My number 15 is the Incubus album Morning View. Bigger fan of previous albums from Incubus. However, this was a carryover from those albums, and I think it's underrated in a lot of ways. I know that I can tell you this much: the songs that were on the radio weren't necessarily my favorites, but some of the other tracks that weren't on the radio had that Incubus sound that I really love. So once again, I would rather listen to older Incubus versus this one. However, I think that it does belong right at the number 15 spot based on that analysis. Next is, for me, number 14. This is a band that I know Steve loves, and I like them a lot, and it's Phoenix TX. And I think when we had the conversation about Phoenix TX, I did admit to you that it's not really a band that I listened to back then. So this was more of I've heard them. I may have heard one or two songs. I understand the importance of what they put together. I understand, part of the movement that they were in helped shape, the pop punk world, et cetera, which is all good and fine. I think this album, once again, is probably my favorite of all of them. And so, being that if I'm going to rank a list of pop punk bands myself, since Phoenix TX isn't going to be that high, it was hard for me to put them any higher than 14 here, especially with this album. But because this was my favorite album for them, I popped this up a little bit higher than maybe like the Mess and the Rufios of the world based on that simple fact. So I think the 14 makes sense for the Lechuza album. Number 13, Lucky 13. This is where I put Alkaline Trio. And I didn't want to put Alkaline Trio lower based on personal biases, just like I just got done talking about, because I do believe that from here to Infirmary, it truly does have some good music on it, some really great tracks. Maybe they're not my cup of tea, but I do believe that, from just a straight up body of work, that, hey, there's a lot of people that argue against us not liking them for a reason, Steve. People, have opinions, of course, and everybody likes different things. But when enough people say the same thing, it makes you scratch your head a little bit. So that said, even though I don't necessarily agree with it, I couldn't in good conscience put them any lower than where they're at. So 13 is where they belong. They did not belong in the top 10 for me. Again, I know some people would probably put them in number one. I'm not one of those people. Oh, and this is going to be a great one for those people that love Alkaline Trio, because I went and I put a Sugar Cult album above them. Oh my God. That's the Start Static.
Well, I mean, I did too.
I just can't wait. Guys, I'm a sucker for Sugar Cult. I'm sorry. Like I love the sound. I know I make fun of Steve for bubblegum pop punk here and there, but you gotta love Sugar Cult. You got to.
Can I just interrupt and add? I actually have an ongoing feud with a friend of mine over what Sugar Cult's biggest song is. What would you say that their biggest song is?
Oh, Memory.
Okay, that's what I say. That's what I say.
I mean, what's the
My friend
argument?
says it's a "Bouncing Off the Walls Again" song,
Oh,
which is not on this album.
I I mean, I'm familiar with both of them, but no, like that song. I don't like that song at all.
Memory
So
is
I
a
mean,
Memory is a fucking banger, though.
Memory is a banger. Memory is a banger. Unfortunately, if you look at this album, it's yes, Memory's not on this album.
Oh, Memory is on this album. Wait, Start Static.
No, it's not.
Oh, it's not.
No, it's not.
I got mixed up. Let me see.
It's
What's on this
okay.
album?
It's okay. I like this album nonetheless. So, you like a sound, you like
Bouncing
the
Off the
way,
Walls Again is on this. Okay.
yeah, that's okay. That's okay. Again, I don't like that song, and this wasn't between those two tracks. That wasn't part of my opinion. But I do know that that's where I put Sugar Cult. And now I got one more. This is where I put one of your worst songs on your list. This is where I put REM Reveal. I was at the point in time where, so, back up a little bit, it's like the 90s, huge REM fan, bought all their albums, bought all their tapes, went back and bought, albums out of the archive, kept going with it through the late 90s, bought New Adventures in Hi-Fi, and bought Up, and then Reveal. While I don't think that I liked Reveal as much as I enjoyed maybe the New Adventures in Hi-Fi, and just talking about latter day REM albums, I think that there was a charm to this one that definitely stuck in my CD player for a long time. There was some banger tracks on this album. It's underrated in a lot of ways because I think people definitely didn't give this one as much of a chance. They weren't necessarily diehard fans, but even The Imitation of Life, I think that was a hit off of this one. It's a great song. It's just a great song. So again, I think that it might be a familiarity thing for you. I think you said that, but I am very familiar with this album, and I think it belongs right outside the top 10.
All right. Well, very interesting. So you got 10 left. I will go my 15 to 11 here. I kind of feel like I screwed up and I thought Start Static was their other album, but I'm not going to change anything because I don't want to mess up my spreadsheet. And it's not that going to be that big a deal anyway. So I'll go with my number 15 is going to be a band that the people out there, and you might not think that I'm super familiar with, but I'm giving this to System of a Down, Toxicity. And I did have a lot of time with this one because when I was in college and I lived in a big house with a bunch of people, I had one of my close friends was a huge System of a Down fan, and another one of my friends who had like the cool sound system. We would just listen to albums. It was a lot of Linkin Park and System of a Down, and I enjoyed it a whole lot. Not going to be higher than 15, but I'm putting it over there at 15. I do like System of a Down. Number 14, and I've never shied away from my opinion about this band, is that I like them. I like their hits a whole lot. I liked Hash Pipe. I liked Island in the Sun, but I don't think this was one of their top albums. You may disagree. I guess we'll see. But I'm giving Weezer, the Green Album, my number 14 spot. 13 is where I had our friends Sugar Cult, and in my mind, I'm just going to pretend it's the other album. But I did take a quick look at the track list, and I like that album. I like Sugar Cult a lot, so I'll take the hate too for putting them ahead of Alkaline Trio. Um, Now we get into let's see, number 12. So I had this one way higher than you did. I loved Lucky Boys Confusion growing up. They had this punk that was mixed with the ska. This is not their best album. Commitment is their best album, but this album had two to three songs that were huge standouts for me. I love the song 4080, and Fred Astaire by Lucky Boys Confusion is just again, I'll say it again, it's a banger. Fred Astaire is fantastic along with Boss Man. So throwing the game for me, Lucky Boys Confusion is going to be number 12. Just beating that out and missing the top 10 is our friends in Rufio with their album Perhaps I Suppose. And listen, Rufio can be a bit of an acquired taste. They're real fast. They have their own vibe to them, but I really like them a whole lot. Not enough to get them in the top 10, but pretty close. So Rufio is my number 11.
Just for fun, where would you have put Sugar Cult now that you got the two albums straight?
Like where would I have put Start Static?
Correct.
I probably would have put it at 15, which was 2 spots higher. And then System of a Down and Weezer would have been 1 spot better.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So it really wouldn't have changed too much then.
No, a point or two for a couple of bands, a couple albums. That was about it. Nothing too crazy.
All right. So this is where we get to the nitty gritty, the brass tacks, however you want to say it. It's the top 10. It is our best 10 and ranked in order of the remainder of the albums that we haven't talked about yet. So I'm just going to go right at it. And I put the Ataris End Is Forever at number 10. Of the Ataris albums, I think there are better ones. I'm giving the Ataris this 10 spot just off of the merit that the Ataris bring overall. This has nothing to do with the fact that you are probably... Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I think I screwed up my top 3 because I have a strange feeling that you put this one in your top 3 and I missed that, which is something I would kick myself for. But I don't. Then
No
again,
takesies, backsies.
I don't think maybe I am right though, because maybe this is not like you like other albums better than this one. So I don't think that potentially that is going to make a ton of sense. But in any case, this is a number 10. This belongs in the top 10. I think it's one of those albums that is memorable by this band, but it's not the most memorable one. There's a lot of good songs on here, but again, I'm not gonna go through them. I'm sure Steve will go into a little more detail. But that's where it belongs for me. Number 9. Number 9 is one that probably could have went a little bit higher, but it saves the day. Stay What You Are. I really like this album a lot. However, again, like you have to be mindful of everything that you're putting above it. And ladies and gentlemen, I could not put this higher than any of the other albums that I chose above it. So this is the piece of the puzzle where it fit the best. And I look below and I don't think so. Again, I wouldn't have put anything below above this one. Now that I'm looking, second guessing any of my choices. I wouldn't have put anything above it, below it, or above it either. So again, saves the day. It's a great album. Definitely deserves to be top 10 in a lot of ways. But that's where it belongs for my list. Number 8 is going to be Sum 41 All Killer No Filler. I'm a Chuck guy. I like Chuck better, but we're not comparing albums between the same bands on this list. This album is still outstanding. If you like the Sum 41 sound, which I do. So number 8 is where that one sits. All right. Number 7. This one I went back and forth on, by the way, with another band that's above it. But Steve, I put One for the Kids at number 7. Put One for the Kids at number 7. I don't think this Yellow Card album is necessarily one of the ones that I have in heavy rotation. It's an early one. Obviously, it's not the one that I listen to the most, or the ones I listen to the most. I listen to the follow up and then the one after that the most for Yellow Card here. And hey, who knows? Maybe I might listen to their most recent one just as much too, because I really, really like what they've done so far with the songs they put out. But this one, a little bit too early, maybe a little bit too raw. I think there's some good songs in here. I mean, guys, seriously, like I still put them. I put them at number 7, so obviously I feel a certain type of way about this album. Just couldn't put them any higher. And then I'll go number 6, and then I'll kick it over to you. This is where I think that you and we see things in a slightly different lens. This is where System of a Down Toxicity belongs. Chop Suey for me is a song that is undeniable. That song will ring out in my head forever. When I first heard that, it was music to my ears. I couldn't believe, like, I really did not listen to a lot of System of a Down before I listened to Chop Suey, and it was just all gas from there. Like no breaks. It just was. You bought Toxicity, you bought Hypnotize and Memorize. You listen to all their stuff after that. Like it was just crazy. I just became such a big fan because of this album, because of that song. So I definitely think that I put them in the right spot. So that was number 6.
All right. Well, I look forward to your top 5. Just taking a look at what's left. I'm interested. And flip back over to me. We're gonna break my top 10 here. We're gonna start with my number 10. Rank these guys higher than you, and that makes sense because I picked them for the Steve Picks month, which was American Hi-Fi. I love that album in its entirety, front to back. This top 10 was quite difficult for me because these are a lot. Like 2001 is just I'm a sponge of music and enjoyment, and American Hi-Fi definitely has their place here at number 10, but not higher than that or lower than that. We have a ding ding ding. We have a samey, okay? At number 9, I also listed Saves the Day, Stay What You Are, which is an absolutely fantastic album. It is definitely my favorite Saves the Day album. I think it's we did an album spotlight, but it's a front to back great album that was very different from the other things they did, and I think that warrants the number 9 spot. And surprisingly enough, ding, ding, ding. Another samey, Chris. At number 8, I put Sum 41's All Killer No Filler. And I think that is an absolutely fantastic album. I may also like Chuck better. It's really close. I can't remember what I said back when we did our Sum 41 episode like 4 years ago. However, I think that certainly warrants that top 8 spot, but not higher than that. The next 2 for me are going to be quite different from your rankings of these two albums. Number 7 for me is going to be Mest's Destination Unknown. Mest is a band that I got into again in this 2001 era in the pop punk heyday, and it just this album to me I would listen to just on repeat nonstop. And I know that if you're if you're not super into the Mess kind of bubblegum pop punky sound, it might not be the one for you, but it was definitely one for me. Songs like Cadillac and Fucked Up Kid and Drawing Board is a top 5 song of all time in my favorites, and so that has to get it up there at number 7. Going down to number 6, just missing my top 5, is going to be Phoenix TX Lechuza. We talked about this on the Drive Through Records episode last week, and this album was a follow up that was a little bit more on the rock side and less on the bubblegummy pop punk side. But again, one of my favorites. There's a song called Tearjerker that I fucking love so much, and Threesome KW. This album is fantastic, and it deserves that number 6 spot for sure.
Hmm. All right, top 5, Steve. Here we go. This is what it all comes down to. And number 5 for me is an album, and none of these albums in the top 5 I think have any skips in any songs throughout the albums that we're going to be talking about. Number 5 is Bleed American. And it's so funny because this is such a good album that, and I actually like Futures better, but it's neither here nor there. Like this is such a good album. It's so stacked, Steve. If you just list off some of the names, like just from track 1, Bleed American, A Praise Chorus,
All of
the
them,
middle,
dude.
Your House, Sweetness, Hear You Me. If you don't, I'm naming them all. But even going through the end, the Authority song, like these songs have so much emotion and charm and just listenability, if that's a word. I don't care if it is, but it's such just the total package in the year 2001. And it was such an important album. It put, I don't want to even say it put Jimmy World on the map, but for a lot of people it did. Just
It did.
It's straight up because of the middle and the sweetness. But beyond that, people that actually took the time to listen beyond, bought the album, had to have been hooked from there. So it put them on the map. It did nothing but help, and you call them pop punk, you call them just pop rock or alt rock, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter. They have their sound. It's amazing, and it's number 5. This album. Number 4 for me is Your Favorite Weapon by Brand New. I've been very vocal by saying that, Deja is, if Deja was in 2001, like this, that would have been higher. It would have been number 1. But Your Favorite Weapon, while I don't like it as much as some of the other Brand New albums, I can't sit here and say I don't like it, because it's amazing. Like I'm just a huge Brand New fan of their music, of course, from front to back. I'm sick that I didn't get a chance to see them live. And, this being one of their earlier albums, Steve, this obviously had a little bit more of a pop punky sound, probably the most out of all of them that you've listened to. Maybe not the only, but definitely the most. And again, just so much charm to this album. The way that they write music, not the dark brooding Brand New, but just the well thought out, lyrics and music that just weaves seamlessly with it. It's just amazing. So Brand New, Your Favorite Weapon, number 4. Steve, I put Blink at number 3.
Wow.
And
okay.
yeah. I mean, look, I didn't want it to just be, I had to consider what was left. And if you put, even though I love Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, even though I arguably will say on maybe 4 or 5 days out of the week that it's my favorite Blink album. Again, that could change depending on the day, but usually it is. I do feel like there are two other albums here that, in my opinion, belong higher. But I mean, look, you can't sit here and say that what what this album had to do. It had to follow up Enema of the State. It had to follow up. It had to follow up one of their biggest releases of all time as a band, if not the biggest at that point in time, commercially. And I think it did an amazing job doing that. Like they came right back with just some straight up amazing tracks. They weren't all just sing-songy pop nonsense. Like it was straight up Blink 182. It's what people wanted to hear. It was true to their name. And also like some fun stuff too that they were able to interweave. It had charm, it had humor, it had amazing music. So, I know I'm trying to sell it like it's number one, but it belongs at number three. All
I'm
right, Steve,
surprised.
here,
But go
here we
ahead.
go. Here we go.
Continue
Top
on.
two. Yeah, look, I got to give credit where credit is due. So the Blueprint is number two, Steve. If you're a fan of hip hop, if you're a fan of Jay-Z, you're going to hear a lot. You're going to run into a lot of people that will have very, very strong opinions on how the Jay-Z's albums rank. And even though I kind of have a soft spot for some other albums that that I had that were Jay-Z, because I had a lot of R&B. I had a lot of hip hop albums in the mid to late 90s. I was big into hip hop music, and I was big into Jay-Z. At the Life and Times of Sean Carter Volume 2 probably was one of the first albums that I ever owned. It wasn't I absolutely wasn't the first that I ever listened to, but sticking with it, to me, like I think if you look back, I feel like Blueprint is probably either number one or top two best Jay-Z albums of all time. I truly do believe that. And if that's the case, like, if you think about, in hip hop history, and he's probably super retro right now. I'm not sure if, nowadays how the newer generation feels about Jay-Z, but obviously he was a pioneer, trailblazer, one of the best, one of the best of all time. To say this is number one and number two from one of the best hip hop artists of all time, he belongs in the number two spot with this album. And finally, yes, I put Weezer Green at number one. I think that there's going to be a lot of debate on this. And I think this is more selfish reasons than anything, Steve, because, for me, it was a band at the time that I really, really loved and got into. You listen to Blue, you listen to Pinkerton, and then you don't get anything, and you don't know if they're ever coming back. And I went through this before on other shows when we did Wee's Temper. I talked about it, right? We talked about the gap in time, the just not knowing whether or not I'd ever get more music from this band at all that I really, really connected with. And when they finally said, "Hey, in this year, 2001, late 2000, early 2001, we're going to give you a Green album. We're going to give you a brand new album. We're coming back. It's happening." It was a big, big deal for me. Big deal. And when I listened to it, I couldn't get enough of the songs on this album. I have so much nostalgia, so much connectivity to this album. I don't care who wants to debate whether or not this is better than any other band that we've talked about before, any other album that we talked about before on this list. For me, I could listen to this album a billion more times, front to back, sideways, up and down. It doesn't matter. It has so many good tracks on it, no skips at all. This belongs in my number one spot.
All right. Well, that was fun. We'll go through my guesses for you in a minute, but I'm gonna do my top five if that's okay.
Go for it.
I got five albums left, and we'll see where they rank. So number five, you I believe guessed this would be a little bit higher. However, my number five is actually going to be exactly what your number five was, and that's Jimmy Eat World Bleed American. There is not a bad word to say about this record. It is absolutely fantastic. You listed most of the track list, and it is a non-skip album. And I couldn't put it higher than this, but it's so good that it deserves to be the number five album of the year 2001. For me, number four is going to be the first record from Yellow Card, which is called One for the Kids. The first song I ever heard from Yellow Card was a song called Rockstar Land, and that song still holds a really strong place in my heart. And there's other songs on this record, Sure Shot, Cigarette, For Pete's Sake. I love this album. I know that sonically it is not the best album. I know that, everything they did after this sounded better than this this output. However, this album was influential for me, and it gets my number four. Number three for me is going to be Brand New's Your Favorite Weapon. I bought this album on a whim. I didn't know who Brand New was at all. I was in a weird tapestry shop on Long Island, and it was sitting on the counter, and for whatever reason I purchased it, and when I listened to it I was just blown away. And I love the pop punk stuff. I love what they did after. I love Deja. The albums after that I did get into a little bit later. But Your Favorite Weapon, 70 times 7, and going down that rabbit hole of like, what is going on with Brand New and Taking Back Sunday, and trying to figure that out. And then Soko Amaretto Lime, which is one of the best acoustic songs of all time, one of the best album closers of all time, in my opinion. And then, the quote-unquote one that caught on a little bit, Jude Law and A Semester Abroad, and everything else in between. I didn't even mention Mixtape. That's the only one they're playing live on their tour right now. But Brand New's Your Favorite Weapon is just, it's my favorite Brand New album. And it gets the number 3 spot. It couldn't beat out number 2 or number 1. And Chris, you may want to kick yourself a little bit. You mentioned that you'd want to kick yourself because you forgot. But End Is Forever by the Ataris is definitely my favorite Ataris album. It is not the most popular opinion favorite Ataris record by any means. Most people who are a little more hardcore fans will say Blue Skies, Broken Hearts, and X12 Exits. People that got into them a little later or picked up during Boys of Summer would probably say So Long Astoria. But for me, End Is Forever is the quintessential Ataris album. If you look at the top, 6 tracks off of that, the first 6 tracks off of that record, Giving Up on Love, Summer Wind Was Always Our Song, IOU on Galaxy, Bad Case of Broken Heart. My favorite Atari song of all time is Up, Up, Down, Down, Left, Right, BA Start. And again, I don't think I share that opinion with a lot of people, but I love that song. And then Road Signs and Rock Songs. This album, this run that they went on when they did Blue Skies, Broken Hearts, End Is Forever, So Long Astoria is one of my favorite 3 albums by a band ever, probably. And it definitely deserves, for me, the number 2 spot. However, the number 1 spot, and I was taken aback the fact that it got a little lower than I expected on your list, but still high, is Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. I thought that this may... Listen, we picked a year, 2001. We're not trying to always pick ringers and pick Blink-182 to win, but we're pop punk dads. We like Blink-182. And yes, it had a follow-up, Enema of the State. Yes, it had 2 huge hits. But you know what? The 2 huge hits are some of the shittiest songs on this album, right? The Rock Show and First Date, while they're amazing, they're not the shining stars of this album. The shining stars of Take Off Your Pants and Jacket are all the tracks in between. I'm talking about Anthem Part Two. Not that that's not a big song. I'm talking about Reckless Abandon. Every time I look for you, give me one good reason. Roller Coaster, Shut Up, Please Take Me Home. Even Story of a Lonely Guy, which is a silly song. I think that this album is just absolutely phenomenal, and it definitely is up there with me. You know, all my top five: Jimmy Eat World, Yellow Card, Brand New, Atari's, Blink-182. These are bands that define the type of music that I listen to, and you know my love for music. But Blink is almost always gonna kind of come out on top, so I don't feel bad about it. It's all good. Blink-182 gets my top score, so that's it. We ranked them all, and just a quick check on my guess for you and your guess from me. You won, which would be, hang on, let me share my screen here. You won, which would be 1-0. I guessed Brand New, Weezer, Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. So if we were guessing exactly, then I guessed none of them right. If you were guessing exactly, you guessed Jimmy Eat World, One for the Kids, and Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. You got one right. So one for you. Good job.
Well, you guessed. Okay, so you did guess two of them, just not in order, right?
I got two of your three, and you got one of my three. So I guess we both win. However you want to look at it.
All right, I'll go with the first one, and I win. How about the overall? We didn't talk about that yet.
Yeah, we're gonna go through the overall right now.
I am excited because I don't know how this is going to work out. There was some gaps in how we ranked some of these, except for, I guess, for Jimmy Eat World. Here's what I'll say: we're given thoughts after this, right? For different things, or do we want to give them now?
Right when we're done, it's over.
All right. So let's do it now then. I'm surprised. I'm surprised. I'm surprised you put Jimmy Eat World at number 5. I am. I get what you're saying. Like I don't know. I feel like it's a better album than Yellow Card, One for the Kids.
I mean, it's a toss up. It's not like that definitive. I had them at 5 and 4 respectively. So maybe at that point in time, it comes down to my nostalgia, my love for Yellow Card as a band, and how I started loving them as a band, which started with One for the Kids. But we're only talking about one spot.
We are, but it's still a critical spot. Like I get the Ataris for you because you are just knee deep and you're just like a mega fan of that band. And I forgot this album was your number 1. I probably should remember that, but I get that one. And of course I get Blink. And I'm somewhat surprised that your favorite weapon was number 3. Because I know that you've been complimentary towards brand new stuff, but you've never, like, I don't think that you've ever been over the top. And I feel like top 3 on this list is over the top fandom for a band. So once again, I'm surprised where Jimmy World led. And that's why I guessed what I guessed for the overall, because I thought that you would be higher on Jimmy World and it would even out and it would become number 1. But anyway,
I think if we were just ranking the bands and their whole, catalogs, you may be right. But your favorite weapon has always definitely been my favorite brand new record. Deja right behind it, but I'm more of an early brand new fan than a later brand new fan or a mid. I don't know. They're all super old at this point in time. And I also agree with you. You said that you like Futures better than Bleed American. I also like Futures better than Bleed American.
Yeah. Bleed American. So I admittedly over the past 2 weeks, I've really buckled down and have been listening to a lot of Jimmy Eat World, but most specifically, I've been listening to a lot of Bleed American just to listen to it and really listen to it. And it's timely. to be honest with you. It's timely because I can tell you just from recently listening to it many, many
Because
times,
America is bleeding.
man, is it good. I even put it on for the family vacation trip this past week, and I didn't get any complaints. Now, were they all asleep? I don't know.
How do you
But
do that family vacation trip? Because when I do long trips, what we tend to do is like 1 hour my pick, 1 hour my wife's pick, 1 hour my daughter's pick. Do you do a similar thing, or are you just I'm the driver, I pick the whole time?
I'm the driver, but I try and, I know I don't need them to, like, we don't need to do that because I kind of know what they want to listen to. And so I just do a so on and so forth artist radio search on
I see.
Spotify, and it comes up with a playlist. Even if it's the name of a song, it'll come up with a playlist, and we just let that run. Or I get on the radio, and we have fun finding what we find, which a lot of times on those trips, Steve, it's usually religious or country music. It's one of the two.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, that's not my thing.
But that's what a lot of the stations are. But anyway, so yeah, that's what we do.
I would
But
say before we get into the combo, the final rankings, some surprise points for me. Not surprised that you put Weezer up at number one. I will say I didn't expect Jay Z to be at number two for you. I guess you connected with that album. You really liked it. I knew that you liked System of a Down. Maybe not where you place them at number six, um, but for the rest, I think most of it made a good amount of sense.
mhm. I mean, I'll stand behind those rankings, and unfortunately, they're, and we'll talk about how I feel about where they ended up because I think it's a travesty, honestly. But we want to get into it.
Do it. You kick it
All right,
off.
I'll kick it off. So, starting with our combo, our combined 20th spot. It's not really a surprise. It's no doubt Rocksteady. My, how the mighty have fallen. Tragic Kingdom was probably one. I'm not going to say, no, I can't say one of my favorite albums. I wouldn't say it, but it was a great album. I love Tragic Kingdom.
It was a genre defining moment, sure.
I don't think that Rocksteady is genre defining.
Now
I
that
think
was
it
a little
was,
more of like the Gwen Stefani, like her kind of thing moved into, no doubt.
wasn't this them coming back though? Wasn't this them coming back after a hiatus? Am I getting that wrong?
I don't think I know the lore enough.
Because I know there was a time where she did some solo stuff and then they came back to No Doubt. And it may not be this album. It may be I'm thinking of something else. So
Tragic Kingdom was 95. Return of Saturn was 2000. And then
2001.
Rocksteady
So
was
no, Rocksteady was
2001.
not. But what was after Rocksteady?
That was a long time later, 2012. Push
Maybe
and shove.
maybe that's the one I'm thinking of where they had their return, which I'm not as familiar with Push and Shove. Anyway, it doesn't really change anything. So number 20, I think we're agreed that that's the right that's the right spot. Incubus Morning View, I don't know if it belongs at 19.
Oh, this is actually tied 18. Sorry.
Okay. I was gonna say okay, so we got two at 18 here. We got Incubus Morning View, and we have Lucky Boys Confusion throwing the gam. It says on we're not throwing gam around here. No, but you know what I'm saying.
Throwing the Gam Gam.
Throwing the game. Listen, I know you have heartburn over Lucky Boys Confusion because you have nostalgia with that album. I don't know if it should go any higher. I don't
It's not a
think
genre defining album.
I don't think that
not
I
too
don't
upset.
think that Morning View belongs this low. I think there's others that do. I did get tired of Incubus after a while. This wasn't the album where that happened. So this might just be a matter of opinion. REM revealed at 17. Um, yeah, I mean, again, I probably would if they were lower than this, if they were number 20, I probably would have a problem with that. But anywhere in the, I guess, 17 to the 13 range is fine. I think it's a little bit better than 17, but there's better REM albums for sure. So not gonna really, not gonna die on that hill. I'm gonna be okay with that. And then 16, Alkaline Trio from here to Infirmary. Steve, I think we pretty much were on the same page, except I had them a little bit higher than you, which is interesting because if I had them at 13 and you had them at 16, but then they end up in 16, how does that happen?
I mean, it's just a simple formula.
But why wouldn't they be somewhere in the middle of that?
Well, they had 29 combined points, and REM had 31 combined points. Lucky Boys and Incubus had 32 combined points. So it's just a matter of what the combination was.
I'm just looking at this differently. But anyway, if that's the agreed upon formula, then that's where they landed at 16.
All right, I'll do the next five. Tied for number 14, we had Rufio, Perhaps I Suppose, and American Hi-Fi's self-titled record. Those were kind of put in that spot. I had them a little higher, you had them lower, so they kind of got there in that 14 spot. Sugar Cult got up to number 13, Start Static, and down into the 12 spot was Mest's Destination Unknown. That's one where I had them pretty significantly higher than you did. And then we get into our top 10.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is where I would say like Toxicity by System of a Down in that 10th spot. I'll take the top 10, but looking at, I mean, I think I belong higher than Phoenix TX. It's an album it's just, it's a bigger album. It's more influential. It's just, I don't know. I don't think it belongs lower. It does not belong lower than that. And also, Jay-Z tied for 10. Ugh, man. All right. So I think again, this is
Those
just
are some big
because
disparities.
I think you have to understand, like, if you're pretty far removed from hip hop, like, and I'm no hip hop like I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm an expert at all. I'm not. But at the time I listened to a lot of it. And I could appreciate what was good and what hypothetically wasn't. And man, looking back again, the Blueprint, it's much better than 10 for 2001. So I disagree with that wholeheartedly. I think that's a bad spot for this one. Phoenix TX is number 9 here. I believe this one should be a lot lower. I don't want to I don't want to say a lot. That's bad. That's a bad form, but I think this should be 16, 17-ish, not 9.
Well, you put them
It,
at 14, so they definitely
yeah.
shouldn't be lower than that. I put them at
Combined,
6.
yeah, combined. Okay, so I'll give him a little bit of cushion there, but anywhere from 14 to 16, let's say. Let's meet you halfway. Saves the day, say what you are. I think we were. It's funny because we both ranked him 9 and he ended up at 8. I don't understand. But whatever.
It's a points thing. It's not a combined where they were ranked.
But we both agreed. So we agreed, but we didn't. Neither of us got what we wanted for ranking on that one.
That's correct. And the next one as well.
The next one as well, Sum 41. Yeah, there's no real exposition to give here because we're on the same page. And I think you and I would agree that's where they belong. And then the next one, I think that I think 14 is too low. If you're ranking it up against other Weezer albums, if you're ranking it up against these albums, that's two separate conversations. If it's up against these albums, I I just don't think that there are 13, once again, objectively better albums than Weezer the Green Album on this list. There's just not.
I think that
So
is subjective by nature.
I think it's subjective. I think that just musically, sonically, like I just feel like they're just them coming back. Like Rivers Cuomo is, you think about like what he did with, yes, it wasn't as deep as Pinkerton, it wasn't as iconic as Blue. This one was a little bit more just flighty, little bit more poppy, a little bit more easier but there were so many in between songs that were great. Just a ton of energy, emotion. Like this was upbeat and everything you needed for this year. You think about some of the most popular bands in 2001, like this fit that theme too. It fit the new millennium, like all the stuff here. So I don't know. I think that if you talk to people about where it ranks on the Weezer uh, album spectrum, it definitely isn't number one, but I think it's in the top five. But once again, it goes back to the fact that I would argue all day long, even if you don't agree with me saying it's number one, which I totally understand, I still don't believe there's 13 better albums on here than this one. So anyway, that one, because of that disparity, ended up at number six.
Yep, and the top five are all powerhouse pop punk bands for sure. Number five ended up being the Ataris, "End Is Forever," which I ranked super high at number two. Chris had them at number 10, but they came away with 12 points, so that puts them at number five on this list. Number four is going to be Yellow Card, One for the Kids. We both had them in our top 10. I had them at number four. You had them at number seven. The number three ranked album on this list is Jimmy Eat World's Bleed American. We both had them at number five, and they ended up at number three. Chris, that seems to be breaking your brain, but that's the number three combined score. Number two is going to be Brand New's Your Favorite Weapon, which I thought that was going to score well between both of us. And surprisingly, Blink-182's Take Off Your Pants and Jacket gets the number one spot as the Rankin It Summer Showdown top album of 2001. I ranked it the best album. You ranked it the third best album, but it had the best combined score. So Blink wins again. Blink always wins.
They do always win. They do always win.
I mean, they're kind of our like messiah band of our show. It is what it is.
And I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad about it. I do believe they were number three on this list. And again, I'll stand behind that. I don't understand the point system, but I respect it. And I agree I agreed to it. And I respect it. But I think that if you look at the averages here, if you average these out, would this be a much different list?
What do you mean? If you were to,
Just
I don't know how
average.
else to rank it other than combining the scores and then tallying them.
I'm not saying, look, I agreed to this scoring system, so I'm not saying we should change it. I'm just a topic of conversation. If you did the average rank between you and I, would it be a much different list? And you would have to do decimal points, it would need to be, couldn't be a definitive, but you could rank them based on those decimal points. It would still work.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to come up with the formulas and figure out how to do that, we can certainly share that on Patreon or socials or something.
Yeah,
like
let's do that. Let's do that. And I would not do any formula. I would just do them one by one on a calculator.
There you go. I like everything in spreadsheets.
It's a fun thing, Steve. We did it again. It's Blink on top one more time, but it's the journey.
Time.
It's the journey that's the fun part.
So do you want to go over the before we wrap up here, our predictions, our overall predictions?
Yeah, let's do that. So Chris guess for Steve, Chris guess overall. So Chris guess overall. So this was my okay. So this was my guess for you overall, right?
No, you guessed that the combined
Oh, for the
everything.
combined. Yeah, for the
Yeah.
combined. So I had guessed Weezer Green in 3, Take Off Your Pants and Jacket at 2, and Jimmy World Bleed American 1. And even though I got Jimmy World Bleed American in the wrong spot, but in the top 3, and the same for Blink 182, I unfortunately did not get them in order of any kind. So I have red on all 3 of mine.
But yeah, but you still got 2 out of 3 in the top 3.
Mhm.
I did accurately predict 2 of the top 3. I thought that Bleed American would be number 3 overall, which it was. I thought that Take Off Your Pants and Jacket would be number 1 overall, which it was. I thought Yellow Card would have gotten higher, which it didn't. So we both overall guessed 2 of the top 3. I did get 2 in the right spots, but we both got 2 out of 3.
Here's what I was thinking. I did not think that you were going to do Blink at number 1. I was counting on other albums. Like I thought Blink would be top 5 for you.
And since you
So,
knew that Blink was not number 1 for you, that's why you put it at 2. I mean, that was a good prediction on your part.
and I thought that you would have Weezer at least 6 or 7. Like I thought they would be somewhere in the top 10.
Did
I
you
mean,
really
it's
think that?
yeah, I did because Island in the Sun, like come on, man. Like even that's like a big hit for you.
It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. I don't
But
know.
there's a lot of 2001, as I mentioned, is a big year for the sponge of pop punk
I guess.
that I was in.
I
So
just I didn't predict 14. Like that's where I kind of got it wrong there. So I thought at least with me having them at number 1, if you would have even come in at number 8, if it would have been number 9, I think that it could have sniffed that number 3 spot. But because it was
it could have,
14,
yeah. If it was 8 or 9, it could have, yes.
and that's where I was going with that is I knew you wouldn't be any higher than that, but that would have been enough to do it. And so I thought potentially you were gonna maybe what I thought is you were gonna go Jimmy World 1 or 2. And if you were to go Jimmy World 1 or 2 and I had 5, I think that would have been enough to take the top spot. I don't know. It was just it maybe the math doesn't make sense, but I also thought that if I was going to go in a different direction this time, that's the only direction I thought that could potentially make sense to unseat Blink. Because I really didn't think that any of these other albums could unseat Blink. Like your favorite weapon's not going to unseat Blink. One for the kids, I don't think so. I mean, maybe for you, the end is forever, but I could not see any other album outside of Bleed American unseating them or being ranked higher on your list.
Listen, I
So that's
can't
why I went
argue
the
with
way I went.
can't argue with your opinions. I thought that Bleed American would definitely be in your top 5. I knew that One for the Kids would be. It was hard, so I figured that some of your tops would be a little lower for me, like I thought maybe REM, Weezer. So those I didn't really consider as top 3s. I thought overlaps would be Yellow Card, Blink, and Jimmy Eat World. That's why I guessed those. I was surprised that Take Off Your Pants and Jacket did not get your number 1.
Like if it was a different Weezer album, if it was Maladroit, which I really love too, but maybe that's a bad example. But anyway, so it's just the timing of the Green album, and it just hit in all the right. It came with all the feels. Let's put it that way. But anyway, that was our list, ladies and gentlemen. That's where we're gonna kind of wrap this thing up. Steve, any other thoughts or discussion on our list from today?
No, let me just list it just for finality. No Doubt Rocksteady at 20, Incubus and Lucky Boys Confusion tied at 18, REM 17, Alkaline Trio 16, Rufio Perhaps I Suppose and American Hi-Fi at 14, Sugar Cult 13, Mest at 12. System of a Down and Jay-Z tied at 10. Phoenix TX Lechuza at 9. Saves the Day Stay What You Are at 8. Sum 41 All Killer No Filler at 7. Weezer The Green Album at 6. The Ataris End Is Forever at 5. Yellow Card 1 for the Kids at 4. Jimmy Eat World Bleed American at 3. Brand New Your Favorite Weapon at 2. And Blink 182 Take Off Your Pants and Jacket at number 1. Thank you for listening to our Rankin It Summer Showdown of albums that we picked from 2001. That was super fun. I liked it.
Yeah, I liked it too. And we're going to switch it up again. So when we come back again for our next Rankin It Summer Showdown, we're going to do something completely different. And I don't want to tell you what it is. I don't, Steve, I'm not going to tell them, but I can tell you that we're going to
I don't think you even told me.
I did, but I did tell you. But I don't want to spoil it here. But I will say that it's this one, like there was some debate and we went back and forth a little bit. I think that my idea is going to open up the back and forth a lot more. So with that said, it's not something that you're going to want to miss because I think there's going to be some amazing discussions that are going to be had based on the way we're going to do the Rankin' It in our next episode.
I very much look forward to that. Rankin' It is always a super fun part of our episodes. So to have a whole month dedicated to doing Rankin' It, and not only that, but to do it in a couple of different ways, I'm excited. So yeah, you'll have to tell me what we're doing next time.
I'll tell you right after the show, Steve. But for all of you guys out there, stay tuned. Check out the next episode in our Rankin' It Summer Showdown. You don't want to miss it. And hey, I'm glad you didn't miss today's episode because once again, hopefully it was a lot of fun for you guys. It was fun for us. But we want to know how you really feel about it. So one of the best ways you can do that is to give us a rating and a written review, whether it be on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Either way, we'd love to hear from you. www.hsnepod.com. That's www.hsnepod.com. That's our hub. That'll get you to both of those socials. It'll get you to all of our socials, actually, and also to our store where you can buy some really great swag like mugs and hats.
That's right. And make sure and join our Discord community while you're at hsnepod.com and chat with us about pop punk music, our episodes, life, and anything else that you want. And if you want to subscribe to our Patreon and support the show, go to patreon.com/hsnepod. Until next week's Rankin' It Summer Showdown, keep on rocking your dad bods, throw up the rock hands, and blast the pop punk.
It's Dragon Wagon.